Hi, welcome to Roy's Game Table. Today we have game 2 of our best of 3 matchup between Iron Man Justice and Expert Klaw. So pull up a chair and let's see what happens. Alright, so we're set up and ready to go. We got Expert Klaw out, and I don't have my obligation in the discard pile. Do have the minion in play like I'm supposed to. Much more favorable setup in this game than I had in game 1 with Tiger Shark as the first minion that came out. And by the way, if you have not seen game 1 of this best of 3 matchup, go ahead and do that. You can hit the eye in the top of the screen and go watch that game first so you'll know what happened, and then come back here. Okay, I assume that if you're watching this game, you either don't care what happened in game 1 or you've already seen game 1 and you know that I was completely destroyed by Klaw in game 1. I actually thought I was going to win that because I've played a lot of games off camera with these two just for fun, with Iron Man Justice against Expert Klaw. Won a bunch of those games. Not sure if I lost any off camera, but got on camera and lost that game for sure. So I'm 1 game down in this best of 3. So I not only have to win this, but I've got to win 1 more to win this best of 3. But I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to do it. It's going to happen because I know that Iron Man Justice, this deck, can beat Expert Klaw. And I'm going to show you that starting with game 2 here. All right. So we have our hand of 6. And I do want a mulligan. And I'm going to keep this under surveillance and the rocket boots and Stark Tower, but I'm going to get rid of these 3 cards and draw back up to 6. All right. And then to start off, I'll go ahead and use his ability to see what I get. Discard 3 cards. I already know what I want to take. I want to take the Powered Gauntlets. And I'll put these 2 cards in the discard pile. And then I'm going to go ahead and put Stark Tower into play using Rocket Boots and Daredevil for 2. And then I'm going to use Stark Tower to bring Rocket Boots back into my hand. All right. And then I want to make sure I get under surveillance in just so the scheme has plenty of room for me, so I hopefully don't lose to it, or hopefully doesn't advance on this next turn. I'm going to put that in with Power of Justice. All right, so I have 3 more cards left. And I'm going to go ahead and put in, well, I can always pull my Rocket Boots out of the discard pile if I need to. And I'd like to get a hand of 6. So I'm going to go ahead and put my Gauntlets in using these 2 cards. And I will stay as Tony Stark for 1 more round. So I'm going to ready up and draw back up to 6. Okay, start of the main phase. We put 2 threat on the scheme because we have Immortal Klaw in. That gives it an acceleration token. He's going to scheme for 2, 3, 4. So that's going to bring it up to 6, which normally would make it advance, but I got room for 4 more threat because of under surveillance, so it's at 6. The Armored Guard does not scheme, so it'll stay at 6. The encounter card is going to be another Armored Guard. All right, so he'll come in with 3 and a tough. And it's back to Tony Stark. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is discard the 3 cards and see what I get. And I think I'm actually going to take Genius, excuse me. Discard these 2. Put Rocket Boots on top because I'm about to pull it right back out of the discard pile. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to exhaust Stark Tower to pull the Rocket Boots out. All right, and then I'm going to put the Mark V helmet in with Repulsor Blast. I'm going to put the Rocket Boots into play with Stealth Strike, and that's going to give me a hit point up to 10. Okay, and then I'm going to put the Mark V armor into play with Genius and Followed for 2 and 3. And that'll give me 6 hit points up to 16. And then I think I'm going to be able to draw 5 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and flip to Iron Man, excuse me. And I'm going to use Power Gauntlets to knock this tough off. And then I'm going to use Iron Man to thwart for 2. And the Mark V helmet to thwart for 1 for a total of 3 to get rid of this Crisis, the defense network. And looks like that's all I can do. So I'll ready up and I'll draw up to 5. Okay, start of the main phase. This will go from 6 to 8. Okay, so we still have 2 more threat that can go on here and it'll advance, but hopefully that won't happen because he's going to attack me now, and I'll just have Iron Man take it. He's got 16 hit points, so he's going to attack for 1, 2, 3, so just 3 damage, dropping him down to 13. And then the 2 guards will attack, dropping him down to 11. And then the encounter card is Advance. And so good. Well, it is gonna cause this to go to the next stage. But the good news is the 2 advances are now in the discard pile. And I don't think he has any other ways to scheme with encounter cards, I don't think. But it is gonna scheme for 2. And it's a weapons runner. So you put the weapons runner into play, engaged with you. Now he came in as a boost. So I made that mistake with the earlier video a couple weeks ago or whatever it was. But when the weapons runner comes in as a boost, you don't surge because that's not part of his boost effect. But he does come in for 2. He won't do anything this turn because he came in after the encounter phase and everything. But he will scheme for 2, which is going to bring this up to 10. It will advance it. So again, under surveillance back, this will go away. I have to discard a card until I get a minion. Okay, so I'll do that. And it's a weapons runner, same thing. He won't surge because he was put into play. He was discarded and put into play. It was not revealed. So he does come into play. I'll have to deal with him, but he won't surge. And this will advance. And so now it takes 8 for him to win, and not looking good, but I'm in a better shape than I was in game 1. So back to Iron Man. Okay, I think the best thing for me to do this turn is to go ahead and put Agent Coulson in, and I'm going to do that with Energy for 2 and Jessica Jones for 3. And then that'll let me search my deck or discard pile for a preparation card. I'll search my deck. And I get to put it in my hand, and it's going to be counterintelligence. I'll shuffle my deck. Okay, and I think I'm going to go Aerial, discard Avengers Mansion to be able to do that. So I'm going to use 2 damage to take out one of these weapons runners. Okay, then we have Agent Coulson, who by the way came in with 3. I'm going to have him thwart for 2 on this Immortal Claw, bringing it down to 1. Then I'm going to have the Mark V helmet, thwart for 1. It's going to take it out of the game, and that's going to cause him to lose the 10 hit points and the acceleration token. So now he's down to 18. And then I'm going to have Iron Man attack for 1 to knock this tough off. I'm going to discard the Power Gauntlets because I'm probably going to flip next turn, so I can bring these back out. And next turn, I'll leave that in my hand in case I need it. And I'll ready and draw up to 5. Okay, start of the villain phase. 1 threat this time because there is no Immortal Claw to accelerate it. He's going to attack. Iron Man still has 11 hit points, so I think for now I'll go ahead and let him take it. He attacks for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that drops him down to 6. From 11 to 6. And then I'll just have him take the other 3 damage to drop him down to 3. Okay, and the encounter card, if it's an attack, Agent Coulson's going to take it. And the encounter card is Sonic Boom. Either spend those resources or exhaust each character you control. I'll just exhaust each character I control because I want to do some stuff this turn. I can't spend the resources anyway. All right, so back to Iron Man. Okay, I think the first thing I want to do is go ahead and put in the arc reactor that I drew last turn. And I'm going to use Repulsor Blast and Supersonic Punch to put those into play. And then before I do anything else, I want to go ahead and use Mark V Helmet to thwart off of this scheme here. I'll go ahead and use Power Gauntlet to deal 1 damage to this weapons runner. And then I think I'll go ahead and use Arc Reactor to ready Iron Man, but I'm going to flip and go ahead and heal him back up to 6. So he'll have hopefully plenty of hit points going into the next turn. And then I'm going to go ahead and use his power to discard 3 cards, and let's see what I get. I'm going to keep this under surveillance. And then I'm going to use Stark Tower to pull out the top tech upgrade, which I believe was my gauntlets. Yep, it was. Okay. And then I'm going to put under surveillance in just to make sure I have plenty of room on this, have plenty of room on the main scheme. And I'll put it in using counterintelligence and powered gauntlets, because I can pull this back out of my discard pile at the beginning of my next turn if I need to. And then I'll hold on to emergency to help with scheme. And hopefully, starting next turn, I'll be able to stay as Iron Man more often. But I'm going to ready and draw up to 6. Okay, start of the main phase. We put 1 threat on the main scheme. Heal scheme for 2, 3, 4. So that's going to bring it up to 5. And then the weapons runner will scheme for 1, and he's the only one of the minions that will scheme, so it's at 6. And it needs 12. So I think I'm good even if this is an advance. But the encounter card is Tiger Shark. So he'll come into play. He won't attack. His force responses after Tiger Shark attacks give him a tough status card. But obviously he won't attack right now. But he is a threat because he does 3 damage. And we're going to have to get him out of the way. But he'll come in with 6 health. And it is back to Iron Man. Okay, the first thing I want to do is go ahead and heal with Tony Stark. So don't forget, I want to make sure he's got plenty of hit points. He'll go from 6 back up to 9. And then I don't have 3 cards left in my deck, so I'm not going to use his ability, I think. I'm okay right now with upgrades, and I'm about to get the Power Gauntlet out with Stark Tower to bring that back into my hand. So it's over here, a little bit off camera. And then I am going to put the Powered Gauntlets in over here next to the other set. And I'm going to do it with Strength. Pay 2 with Strength. Okay. And then I want to put Nick Fury into play. So let me move everything down here. So I got room for him. Iron Man's cards take up a lot of space. So Nick Fury's right there. I'm going to pay for him with the rest of the 4 cards I have in my hand. All right, and so he'll come in with 3 health. And when he comes in, I'm going to have him use the 4 damage to actually hit Tiger Shark, bringing him down to 2 health. And then I'm going to attack Tiger Shark for 2 to go ahead and knock him out of the game. So he never has a chance to attack. All right, I'm going to have Agent Coulson go ahead and thwart for 2, bringing this from 6 back down to 4. And then I'll flip to Iron Man. I'm going to use the Arc Reactor to ready Iron Man and thwart for 2. So drop this from 4 back down to 2. All right, and then I'll thwart for 1 with my Mark V helmet to drop it back down to 1. And then I'm going to attack with my 2 powered gauntlets. Don't have a lot of room, but I'm going to do 1 damage to this weapons runner to get him out of the way. And then use the other one to do 1 damage to one of these guards. So this guard has 2, that guard has 3 already. And I will draw up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Draw up to 7, my total hand size. And I know I'm going to have to deal myself an encounter card because there's 2 cards left. But that's okay because I think I can survive this next round. And one of these cards is Pepper Potts because I have not seen it yet. Yep, there she is. So that's 2. I'll shuffle, draw back up to 7, and then go to the villain phase. Okay, start the villain phase. Put 1 threat on the main scheme. It goes up to 2. He's going to attack. Nick Fury's going to take this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a lot of damage. Thank you, Nick Fury, for taking all that for me. So he'll come into my discard pile over here. And then the armored guards will attack. I'll just have Iron Man take those, dropping them from 9 to 7. And the encounter card will be an assault. The villain attacks you. So Agent Coulson's going to jump in front of this. He attacks for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He takes a 6 damage attack. Thank you for your service, for your help. And that was the encounter card. So now we're back to Iron Man. Okay, it's Iron Man's turn. I'm going to put Pepper Potts into play using Under Surveillance and Energy for 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to put Daredevil into play. And I'm going to use Pepper Potts to generate the 2 resources on top of the deck. So that's 2. Supersonic Punch is 3. The other one is 4. So he'll come in with 3 hit points. I'm going to have Daredevil thwart for 2 on the main scheme to take off that 2 threat there and have his damage deal 1 damage to this armored guard here. And then I just so happen to have a mental resource in my hand here, so I'm going to go ahead and use Rocket Boots to go aerial. And I'm going to attack for 2 on this armored guard to see if I can pick him up and defeat him. And then I'm going to go attack for 2 on this armored guard to take him out of the game. The board is finally clear. I'm going to have Iron Man attack for 1 on Klaw, bringing him down to 17. And then I'm going to have the arc reactor ready. And I have Iron Man hit him again for 1, so he will come down to 16. And then I'll ready and draw up to 7. Okay, everybody, I just realized that at the end of my last turn, I was supposed to deal 2 encounter cards and do both of those. I only did 1. It was the assault that I let him attack. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Sorry about that. So the other encounter card from the end of last turn is an armored guard. And so that would have changed what I had to do on this turn. Because if you remember, at the end of my turn, I did 2 damage to Klaw with Iron Man. But this armored guard would have been in play, so I would not have been able to attack Klaw. So I'm going to give him his 2 hit points back, bringing him back to 18. And then I still will have Iron Man attack, but I'll have him knock this tough off for 1, and then deal the other point of damage to 2. I think that's correct. That should have us back to where it should be. So now I'm going to draw up to 7 and move to the villain phase. Okay, in the start of the villain phase, we put 1 threat on the main scheme. And I think I'm going to, even though Daredevil has 2 health left, he's at 7. I want to be safe, so I've got War Machine if I want another ally. So I'm going to go ahead and have Daredevil take this. He's going to attack for 1 and deal 1 damage to each hero is the boost effect, so that'll drop him down to 6. And then exhaust each ally you control is the other boost effect, but I already have the only ally in the game exhausted. So Klaw only attacks for 1. So Daredevil survives. I won't be able to do anything with him next turn, but he survives that. So that's cool. And then I'll have the armored guard hit Iron Man for 1, dropping him down to 5. Okay, and this time I do only deal myself 1 encounter card, and it's going to be Sonic Converter. Attached to Klaw, it's where if Klaw attacks and damages a character, stun that character. Okay, and he gets +1 attack, so I'll have to remember that. Okay, back to Iron Man. Okay, I don't like the Sonic Converter attachment, So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. I need to spend an energy, mental, and physical resource in hero form, which I am. So I'm going to have power justice for the mental, this power justice for the physical, and then this energy resource. Pay those 3 to get rid of this attachment. And then I'm going to put War Machine into play. And he is over here, but you can't see him. Let me move everything down. You got a lot of cards on the table right now. Let me move everything down. Maybe you can see him. But I'm going to put him in. I'm going to spend Pepper Potts for the top resource for 1, 2, 3, 4 to go ahead and get him into the game. So he'll come in with 4 hit points. And for now, I'm just going to leave him at that. I'm going to have the Mark V helmet remove 1 threat from the main scheme. And then I'm going to have the 2 powered gauntlets attack for 2 to get rid of this armored guard that came in at the end of the last turn. Okay, and then I'm going to have War Machine attack for 2 on Klaw, bringing him down to 16. We're finally doing hitting him, and it actually counts this time. I don't think I've made any mistakes. I'm going to have Iron Man attack for 1. And then have the arc reactor allow him to ready and attack for another 1 for a total of 2. To drop him, Klaw back down to 14. All right, and that'll do it. I'll ready and draw up to 7. Okay, start of the villain phase. We put 1 threat on the main scheme. He's going to attack, but Daredevil's going to take that. I'm not going to exhaust him so you can see War Machine, but Daredevil's going to take it for 1. If this activation deals damage, you exhaust your hero, but it's not going to deal damage to Iron Man. It's going to do it to Daredevil, so that's 1. 2 damage total. That is enough this time to finally knock Daredevil out, who hung in there and was tough and did a lot for me. And so the encounter card is going to be Gang Up. This card gains, so it's going to, each minion engaged with you is going to attack. And I don't want that to happen to Iron Man because he's only got 5 hit points left. As much as I hate to get rid of War Machine now, I'm just going to let him jump in front of it. So he's going to attack for 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 damage. Takes Iron Man out, or takes War Machine out of the game. And we're back to Iron Man. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put Mockingbird into play using Emergency for 1 and Genius for 2, 3. And when she comes into play, that's going to stun Klaw. She'll come in with 3 health. And I'm going to have her attack for 1 on Klaw to drop him down to 13. And then I'm going to Stealth Strike and use Pepper Potts to do 2 from the top of the discard pile. So 2 and then 3. And that's going to allow me to do 4 damage. And I'm going to do it to Klaw, so that'll drop him from 13 down to 9. Okay, and of course I didn't defeat anybody, so I don't get to take 2 threat off the scheme. That's okay. And then I'm going to go Aerial with using the Avengers Mansion's mental resource and deal 2 4 damage to him, dropping him down to 5. Okay. Use the Mark V helmet to thwart for 1 off the main scheme. I'm going to use Iron Man to attack for 1. Oops. To drop him down to 4. And I knocked my die off of Mockingbird. She's at 2. And then I'm going to have the arc reactor ready Iron Man. I'm going to flip to Tony Stark and have him heal for 3. So he's going to go from 5 back up to 8. I'm going to hold on to Strength, ready up, and draw it to 6 because I am now an alter ego. Okay, so 1 threat on the main scheme. He will scheme for 2. Discard 1 card at random. So let me do that real quick. So I will shuffle up my hand. And I'll discard that one. And under surveillance, that's good because I can't put it into play anyway. Put the other 5 cards back out. And so he only schemes for 2, which will bring the main scheme up to 3. And then the encounter card, I'll go ahead and deal the encounter cards. That's technically what you're supposed to do. And because I run out of the encounter deck, I put an acceleration token on. Let me shuffle up the encounter deck here. All right, sorry everyone about the glare that was coming off of Tony Stark and Mockingbird. I think I've helped that. There's a little bit still on Mockingbird, but I think I got rid of it over here. I didn't want to turn my lights too much so you can't see the cards, but I think that glare may have been annoying, so hopefully that helps. Anyway, I shuffled up the deck. It's ready to go. The acceleration token is there, so let's see what the encounter card is. It was Assault. The villain attacks you, but he cannot attack me because I'm an alter ego, so it'll surge, and it will surge. And it's Master Plan, so I'm going to have to discard cards until I get a side scheme because I don't have any side schemes out. So let's see what we get. And there's definitely some in the deck because it's a fresh deck. Wow. I might get another acceleration token before too long. There we go, Illegal Arms Factory. So it'll come in with 4 threat. And I discarded a bunch of cards to get that. But that's okay. So now it's back to Tony Stark. Okay, I think the first thing I'm going to do since I'm on this side is go ahead and use Stark Tower to pull a tech upgrade out. And I do have one in my discard pile because I checked. And it is my rocket boots. So I'm going to bring that into play. And then I'm going to use the strength here to bring counterintelligence. I'm just going to leave it off screen. It's over here next to Mockingbird. You can't see it. But I'm going to pay for that with strength. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and heal with Tony Stark for 3 to bring him back to 11. Because that's actually the reason why I flipped, was to heal him. So he's back to 11. Now I'm going to flip him to Iron Man. And while I'm on this side, I'm going to use Stealth Strike. And I'm going to have Pepper Potts generate the top 2 resources here from Strength. So that's 2. And I'll pay with Followed. No, I won't. I'll pay with Repulsor Blast for 3. So I'm going to deal 4 damage to Klaw. And so that will move him to stage 3. And when he goes to stage 3, he comes in with Toughness. And he comes back into the game with 22 hit points. Okay. And he is still stunned. And I think what I'm going to do is have my, I'm going to use these rocket boots to put Followed in on Illegal Arms Factory. Okay. And then I'm going to thwart for 1 off of Illegal Arms Factory here. And then I'll use Arc Reactor to ready Iron Man, have him thwart for 2. Drop it down to 1. And then I'm going to have Mockingbird thwart for 1 to get rid of this Illegal Arms Factory. And when I do that, I get to deal 4 damage to an enemy. So I will, and I'll deal it to Klaw, dropping him from 22 down to 18. Okay, still not done. I'm going to use my Power Gauntlets to deal 2 damage, dropping him from 18 down to 16. So I got pretty good control of the game, I think. I know I'm going to be putting some threat on here, but I think that's what I want to do. So we will ready and draw up to 7. Okay, I deal myself an encounter card. I'll shuffle my deck and draw the rest of the way. Okay, everybody, made another bonehead mistake in the last turn. I played the stealth strike to knock him down to 0 on his stage 2, and that was okay. But then when he comes in on stage 3, he has a tough status card. You can see it right there. I totally forgot about that for some reason and went ahead and dealt a bunch of damage to him. So I'm going to fix that right now, and it's a pretty easy fix. When I was going through everything, after the stealth strike, I still had my 2 power gauntlets ready. So I'm going to say that I used one of my power gauntlets to go ahead and knock the tough off. Okay, and then I'll do the other shenanigans I did where I put followed in on the side scheme, and then I thwarted the 4 off of the side scheme, dealt the 4 damage, which dropped him from 22 to 18, and then I'll use the other power gauntlet, which would drop him to 17. And so basically, his health isn't 16, it is 17, and I think that should correct that mistake. He doesn't have the tough. I did knock it off with that power gauntlet, we're going to say, before I did all the other stuff. So sorry about that, folks. But as you remember, when I was drawing up, I didn't have enough cards. And so I went ahead and dealt those 7 cards out, got myself the encounter card ready to go, and we're ready to start the main villain phase. Okay, so 2 threat on the main scheme because we have an acceleration token. It'll bring it up to 5. He's supposed to attack, but he's stunned, so he can't. And so we'll deal this other encounter card. The first encounter card is going to be Melter. So he'll come into the game with 5 hit points. And then the other encounter card will be Exhaustion. So it will exhaust my identity card, and it's going to surge into the Immortal Klaw. All right, so that's going to give him 10 hit points, which will bring him up to 27. And we remember that from the beginning of the game. It comes in with 3 threat and has an acceleration token, so I'm going to have to do something about that, or else I got to put 3 tokens on the main scheme at the start of the next villain phase. But we're back to Tony Stark. All right, everybody, I think I have a pretty decent shot of winning the game on this turn. We'll see what happens. I want to start by putting followed in on this Immortal Klaw scheme, and I'm going to do it with Emergency. Okay, and then I want to go ahead and thwart for 1 with Mark 5 helmet, and then I'll ready Iron Man and thwart for 2 for the total of 3 to get rid of this Immortal Klaw. And when that happens, he loses the 10 hit points that it gives him, just like it did earlier in the game. So he's back to 17. And then I can deal damage to an enemy. And I'm going to deal the 4 damage to Klaw and not Melter. So that's going to drop him down to 13, from 17 to 13. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and put Jessica Jones in for 1, 2, or for 3, for a total of 3 to bring her in. She'll come in with 3 hit points. Okay. And then I want to go aerial using the rocket boots. Okay, I'm going to use this, make this wild resource a mental so I can go aerial. All right, and while I'm aerial, I'll go ahead and deal 4 damage to him. So that's going to drop him down to 9. From 13 down to 9. And then I'm going to use Pepper Potts to generate the resource from here for Repulsor Blast. So it's going to deal 1, but then I got to discard 5 cards. I'm going to discard them out this way. So it's every energy gives me 2 extra damage. Okay, so I've got 4 extra damage, and this should be the top of the discard pile, I think. So I got a total of 5 damage from that Repulsor Blast. So that will drop him down to 4. Okay. And let's see. I'm going to deal 2 damage with Jessica Jones to drop him down from 4 to 2. Then I'm going to have Mockingbird attack for 1 to drop him down to 1, and that will knock her out of the game. And let's see, I think that's all I can do actually. My arc reactor is already exhausted, so it's got 1 hit point left. But I still think I'm okay. So I'm going to ready and draw up to 7. All right, start of the main phase. We have to put 2 on here, so it goes from 5 to 7. So we're at 7 out of 5, or 7 out of 12 on the main scheme. And then he's going to attack. I'll just have Jessica Jones do it because she has to defend against Melter anyway. That's his ability. So I'll have her defend against Klaw for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. All right. And then I'm going to have Iron Man defend against Melter's 3 attack. So he'll just take 2 damage. And I'm doing that just in case the Klaw gets to attack. I don't want to lose. I am kind of nervous because if it's ganged up, there is a chance I can lose right here. But let's see what the encounter card is. And it's sound manipulation. When revealed, take 2 damage. Klaw's heals 2 damage. Okay, so that will drop Iron Man down to 7. From 9 to 7. And he'll heal back up to 3. And it will be Iron Man's turn. Okay, and we can go ahead and finish him off. We're good to go because I'm going to use Stealth Strike, the mental resource on it, to make him aerial. And he's got 3 hit points left. I'm going to do 2, 4 with the power gauntlets, knock him down to 0. And that's the game. Iron Man Justice defeats Expert Klaw. And I finally did it. Folks, I finally beat Klaw in one of the tougher scenarios on camera. And I felt pretty good the whole game. I mean, I was a little nervous on that last turn. If Ganged Up would have come out and let him attack and Melter attack, I might have actually lost the game. But I didn't. Sound manipulation came out, and so I was able to survive and go ahead and finish the game. And pretty much when I win with Iron Man, I feel like with Iron Man, when I win, and even when I lose, I feel like it's like a roller coaster ride where the attendant hasn't buckled you in properly. In other words, if you can just hang on for dear life while you're going through the ups and downs and twists and turns, then eventually you'll come to the end. And if you're fortunate and if your things worked out, you'll come to the end and you'll be successful and you'll have finished the ride and you'll have won. And we saw in game 1, I didn't do very well. I held on for dear life, but I got thrown off the roller coaster on a loop or something. And because I was just totally destroyed in that game, totally embarrassing. But in this game, I was able to get my upgrades up. I was able to weather the storms that came. I did make a couple of big mistakes, but I think I corrected those. And I think I corrected them the right way to where there weren't any problems. So I think the game was still fairly clean win. But anyway, I was able to get the game under control. And you know, once Iron Man gets things under control, he can do a lot of damage. And there's pretty much no stopping him once he gets under control. And that's what makes him fun to play. But that's game 2 of this best of 3. And so we'll have a 3rd match. And we'll see who wins that one. If you're interested in knowing how that game is going to turn out, be sure to hit the notification bell so that you know when that game is coming out. And also be sure to subscribe so you'll know. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider to like it. And I just hope you all have a great day. And until I see you next time, I'll save you a seat at the table.